The Age of Heroes Chapter 1 update is finally live in Conan Exiles, and with it comes living settlements, the companion quests, and more. Today we're delving into the initial impressions of the update, alongside the patch notes to see what's changed, and to be fair, there have been some decent changes from the beta client to now. So, let's begin. Firstly, the patch notes themselves. The main parts are what you already know, but there have been a few interesting changes to the living settlement system. If you're unaware, living settlements converts your crafter thralls into world thralls, meaning once they're placed in the world they will stay there, as do fighters, now able to be dressed up like their combatant counterparts. However, crafters now have a new needs system, where they can wander freely around your base to eat, sleep, relax, etc., all whilst remotely giving their crafting bonuses to any nearby bench. This system only affects the crafters, doesn't affect fighters, archers or entertainers. There's been a lot of feedback about the living settlement system over its time on the beta client, and the team have actually added 2 new features since beta, and I think they're features that a lot of people will be happy to hear about. Firstly, each individual placeable now has a toggle from the radial menu to allow or disallow your crafter thralls to use them. People really wanted this, and here it is. Now your personal bed or your favourite chair overlooking the ocean will be free from invasive crafters, and you can be at peace knowing they won't be taking up your favourite spot. Secondly, another new feature for this system is a server-wide toggle for living settlements. I presume this means the needs system. I don't think you'd be able to toggle off the world thrall part of it, but you can now do that. It should be on by default for official servers, but if you run a private server and you don't want your crafters wandering around, you now have that option as an admin, which is a very good addition. I'm sure some server owners will be very grateful to have the choice, and if we're being honest, there is no downside to having the option to turn it off. Away from living settlements, there's no mention of any additional changes or rebalances to companion thralls or their quests here in comparison to the beta client. It will take a little while to get that testing done, so if there are things that have changed, new rewards, etc., I'll cover that in a future video, as I'm recording this literally as the update drops. Additionally, there are a couple of smaller things worth noting. You can find new cages across the exiled lands that contain crafter thralls, fighter thralls and barkeepers. You can kick patrons out of your tavern by engaging in combat with them, and you can now finally get crafters from the Purge loot pool again. There's a few miscellaneous changes, including a pop-up when you open the game to optionally join a mailing list about game updates. One segment here that is quite interesting is code redemption. There's a new function for all platforms where you can redeem codes in-game for rewards. The patch notes say the first batch of codes using this system will come soon. Not too sure what we'll be getting, but I'll cover it when more details become available. Onto some of the gameplay changes. There's a fair amount, so I'll cover the important ones. The full patch notes are, as always, included in the description, so you can read every entry if you'd like. The Battle Pass and related challenges are of course gone from now onwards. There's a new animated main menu screen, and the Purge performance has apparently been improved. The Survival Expertise perk got nerfed from a 50% reduction in hunger and thirst to 33. Several NPC factions had health rebalances. Fur, layered fur and layered silk can now be placed into a skinning storage container. The harvest coal step in the blacksmith journey now reads obtain fuel instead, and can be completed by gathering any fuel type. The Pride of Aesir armour is craftable on Siptar through a crafting station change. A small number of emotes can now also be found on Siptar, and adjustments were made to the health of doors in the Pyramid, Yamatai Tower and Turanian sets to make them more consistent. A few more changes on the followers front. Smart objects, which are the green ghosts you see when you try and place a follower down, have had their placement scale and pathing improved. NPCs no longer teleport away from chairs when they're attacked. Follower status is hidden in nameplates when they're not actively following you. Nameplates of active followers have been expanded to include more useful information and show current orders. And finally, after a long time, followers and pets now take food from thrall pots and feed boxes. On the bug fixes side, there's a few interesting things of note. Large crystal nodes can now be harvested by axes, pickaxes and picks again. Mail hands no longer clip through the bloodletter shield. Grave Matters no longer overlaps the camp at New Luxor. Forgotten Tribe and Accursed NPCs have the correct natural armour value. There are fixes for multiple issues for currently unreleased Bazaar assets. Fixed an issue where you could fall through the map on respawn. Foundations can now be dismantled if placed deep into the ground, and exiles no longer become stuck in latrines, alongside some other smaller fixes. Unfortunately, no mention of fixes for falling through foundations here. We knew that ahead of time from what was said on the dev stream, but it's worth noting until it is fixed. Sadly, there is no section on what was fixed from the beta. There were a fair few bugs reported throughout that period, so I would have liked to have seen what was fixed in that aspect, as opposed to relying on people finding if the issues reported have been rectified. Bazaar times did initially change with this update, going back to launch values from the Age of Sorcery with very long rotations. However, it seems this was quickly adjusted, so the Bazaar values are back to what they were in the Age of War Chapter 4. Also, the Bazaar bundles now break down each individual part of the bundle to make the pricing a little more clear. For example, with the Argosian extension, you can see the parts I don't have and what they cost individually to make up the bundle price. On the bugs front, it seems there are two main ones that have been reported thus far. First, to put it plainly, it seems all barkeepers have been yeeted. The devs are already aware of this issue. I'm not sure what could be done to fix it, seeing as I'm guessing it was related to crafters converting to world thralls. However, the addition of the new jailer cages mentioned earlier will help to alleviate this problem, as the jailer cages can contain barkeepers. This issue seems to affect every platform, so I've left a link in the description to a video from Pixel Cave where they showed the location of every cage in the Exiled Lands, so you can get yourself a new barkeep easily without having to do the purge. The second issue I've seen reported a few times is related to the drowned vault armors from Siptar. The fins, fist and aspect of the drowned cannot be crafted, nor spawned via the admin panel, and they also have disappeared from storage chests too. Not sure why, but I would imagine it will get fixed relatively soon. This section is postscript. I've added it on the 18th, as it appears there are a few other issues that have cropped up overnight. People on the forums are reporting losing crafter thralls, either by having them randomly disappear, or they're wandering off and getting taken to 0-0 coordinates, which I think is quite an old bug that's come back a few times. It's hard to get an idea of how widespread this is. It is reported heavily on the forums, though not as much on Reddit nor in my personal community, so I'll keep an eye on it and the devs' response to it. Additionally, it seems that consoles are having some issues with servers and crashes. I can't really speak on that personally as I play on PC, but yeah, they are having some issues on that end. Of course, we are still in the very early stages of the release of this update. More bugs may pop up, but hopefully not. But if you've experienced any issues that I've not mentioned here, do let me know in the comments. Over the coming days and weeks, I'll have extensive coverage of this update, getting into the fine details of living settlements, companions, farming the jailer cages, bugs and issues, and of course, the new Bazaar bundles too, including a review of the Argosian Observatory bundle soon. Make sure you subscribe for the best Conan Exiles content to learn everything about the Age of Heroes Chapter 1 and beyond. Anyway, that about wraps up the launch day news. This update is finally here with some issues, some nice adjustments on the living settlement system too. Hopefully the bugs that have been reported prove to be less widespread than they might seem. Failing that, hopefully the devs do get around to some fixes very soon. Thank you for watching, and of course a massive thanks to our wonderful esteemed coffee cultists for continuing to support the channel over on Patreon. If you want to see videos like this early, do consider joining us over on Patreon and supporting the channel directly, link in the description and pinned comment. Again, thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you soon.